Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, then I'm so happy to meet you. If not, then welcome back. As always, if you like the sounds of this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Turn on your notification bell so you get notified each time I have a new upload. And always keep the conversation going. Comment down below if you have anything to add. I love reading people's comments. So, just before I get into today's video, there was something I wanted to mention. I had actually meant to do this video last week, but unfortunately my cat Francis, who has appeared on my channel a couple of times, went missing on the 23rd of September. So we have been handing out posters, putting up posters, driving around searching for him, walking through fields, walking on roads around us, social media, everything to try and find him. So I just wanted to mention that if you look at my Instagram, which I always leave my Instagram handle at the end of each video, then I have a post over there about him. If you could share that, then that would be incredible. It's also my Facebook, so I will leave those details in the description box below, and anyone sharing it or anything, that is so appreciated. And of course I will update you as time goes on as well, so thank you for that. He is very much part of the family. I'm a huge animal person. I love animals, and so we've had him 7 years. We've had him and our other cat Peter Pan 7 years, and so we miss him so much. So yeah, as I said, any shares, word of mouth, telling people about it is so appreciated. As I said, I do have a post over my Instagram and my Facebook. I'll leave those details below, and if anyone can share it, then I'd appreciate it so much. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. So this is kind of a part 2 to my last video. If you haven't watched it, check it out, about sort of my experiences at school and things like that. This video is about changes that I feel teachers / schools / the education system can make to help autistic or neurodivergent students. So let's get straight into it. First, what I'm going to talk about, I've talked about before. I always talk about it. I'll be talking about forever until hopefully changes are made. I'm sure so many of you are going to understand this one, associate with this one, and that is uniforms. I feel that uniforms, I'm not going to sit here and say uniforms should be abolished completely, because I don't think that's realistic and I don't think that's going to happen. But I feel like changes could be made. I feel like changes could be made to the material. I feel like changes could be made to... in my school we had like a polo neck t-shirt and then a jumper, and I found around here that to be really tight. Like, I'm wearing a sweatshirt today, okay, and I find a sweatshirt quite comfortable. So I feel like if you had options where you could wear a sweatshirt and not have to wear maybe like a polo neck t-shirt underneath, or a jumper or a hoodie, or maybe something zip up for people who don't want to be wearing a hoodie or a sweatshirt. I just feel like having a bit of variety to the options within a uniform, rather than it being dead set, you wear this, that's, and that is that, whereas having a little bit of variety. And I also feel as well that get students' opinions on uniforms. I know that I'm not sure how much control or say an actual individual school has in uniforms. I don't know, that probably comes from the department, I don't know, but I feel like a change that definitely could be made is the material. Get students to sample different materials and see what's the most comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Get students involved. Students, the ones wearing them for like 5 years, 9 to 4 every day. So get them involved and see, ask them, what changes would you like made? What materials would you prefer? Maybe give samples of different materials. You know, I feel like this is something I always talk about as uniforms, because I just hated the uniform. Yeah. But as I said, I don't think it's realistic for me to sit here and say uniforms should be abolished, blah blah blah. Whereas I feel if there was more options within the uniform, so that you're still sticking to maybe like the school crest or the school colours or whatever it may be, but you have more options within that. As I said, you might be able to wear a hoodie or a sweatshirt or a zip up top rather than your typical jumper and polo neck t-shirt. Anyway, I could talk about uniforms all day, but I'm gonna move along. This one is something I experienced, and it is something I feel quite passionate about. Every school is probably different, but that is special accommodations for disabled students. I'm not sure how I feel about calling it special accommodations, but we'll go with what they call it. So that is having a room on your own, having a scribe, having a reader, having extra time in an exam. So this would be for your junior cert or your leaving cert, which are all really, really important. But I feel that it should be an automatic thing for disabled students. I don't feel that it should be a thing of having to go through a stressful process when you are probably in an exam year, when times are stressful enough, and that you have to go through this stressful process of trying to get what you are entitled to. So I feel like it should be an automatic thing. It shouldn't be something that you have to fight for, or you shouldn't have to be waiting to hear, am I getting this accommodation or not? Because I found leaving cert year, for me, it was stressful because it took quite a while before we knew if I was actually getting the accommodations or not. And that adds to people's stress. And in exam year, plenty stressful as it is. Moving along, and this one is very much for teachers, I think. And I think it's something that would have helped me a lot. I think that's teachers having a clear lesson plan. And when I say that, I mean, let's say the day before, a teacher says, tomorrow, we're going to be covering this, this, and this. Maybe if it's leaving cert, junior cert year, we're going to be looking at these type of exam questions, and just having that clear lesson plan, and for a student to know, okay, what we're covering tomorrow, and also not changing the lesson plan. Because I know so many times teachers would be like, we're covering whatever tomorrow. I'd be ready, I'd be there, I'd be all ready for whatever it was, and then they're like, oh yeah, no, change my mind, let's do whatever. And for me, that change was stressful, and it meant I couldn't learn and I couldn't concentrate as well as I could have. So I feel like that is a huge one that teachers could do quite easily, and I just think it would really, really help. Moving along then, another one is allowing students to move around or stim. So I think this is so important, and I think it's, in a way, it should be an obvious one, but I think probably sometimes teachers might think of it. And I think that I even feel like having it almost like an open policy within a school. So it's not like a student has to go to every teacher and say, I need to be able to move around, I need to be able to stim. Whereas it's an open policy. If that is something you need to do, then you can do it, and it's not going to be frowned upon, or you're not going to be like get given out to or getting into trouble. So I feel like being able to move around and being able to stim is so important, because for so many students that is going to be like really important for their learning. Moving along is another one, sensory rooms. Having, God, it's absolutely lashing outside. Having sensory rooms within a school, I feel, is so important. I went to my old secondary school, I think it was earlier this year, where I gave a talk on autism, and they were just in the process of creating a sensory room. And I just feel for an autistic person, neurodivergent person, to have somewhere to go that is quiet, that you can just have a little bit of time to, I suppose, pull yourself together, or to have a bit of time to rest and to be ready for maybe the rest of the day, or just collect your thoughts and be able to get away from all the different kind of sensory overloads that you might have throughout a day. So I feel like sensory rooms are so important, and it's fantastic to see schools having them. And it was great to see my old school, working on a sensory room. It was fantastic. Moving along, I think this is my last one. Yes, this is a big one. I've said that about every single one. They're all important, to be fair. At home learning for students that need it. I feel like the education system needs to be a little bit more individualized. So it needs to look at an individual student. Every student learns differently. You know, we're not all exactly the same, whether neurotypical or neurodivergent. Everybody learns differently. Everybody needs different supports. And that's particularly the case for neurodivergent, autistic students. And having a bit more, as I said, a more individualized approach. What works for one student mightn't work for another. And I feel like looking at having an option of at-home learning, whether that's the case of a particular student having more half days, or having perhaps a day off a week for learning at home, or having classes online, or having classes, a mixture of classes going on in the classroom, but it's also recorded for students who might need to do that at home. And I feel like that's something that can be looked at and can be sort of worked on, changed around to see what suits individual students, because at the end of the day, you know, schools should be trying to get sort of like each student's personal best and giving them the best opportunities. And so I think that means a little bit of flexibility around how a student might learn. I feel like that's obviously something that would need to be looked at probably at the actual Department of Education level, rather than necessarily a school. I'm not sure how much control a school would have over that. When you think about during COVID, it was possible for students to have remote learning. So why not have it possible all the time? I feel like so many students would benefit from it. Even students who may be sick, may have the flu or whatever, that they can watch back classes and catch up. Because we all know that if you miss time in school, and I missed a lot of time in school, particularly because of anxiety, it is so difficult to catch up. And like, even if you read the notes from the class or whatever, it is still really hard to catch up, and it's really difficult if you've missed what a teacher's been saying, etc. So, okay. So I feel like that concludes this video. I feel like I've probably rambled a little bit, but I feel like these are changes that could be made, whether it's made by the teacher, by the school, going higher up to the Department of Education. And I feel like these are all changes that would help neurodivergent, autistic students so much and help them to be able to achieve their personal best. You know, the school system is so, I think, generalized. It's almost like one size fits all students are learning the exact same way. And whilst that suits so many people, for neurodivergent or autistic students, that just doesn't always work. And having, I think, flexibility, having a more individualized approach for education, I think would be a huge help. And I'm always someone who likes to talk about education. I loved going back to my old secondary school and talking to the students about autism. It was absolutely fantastic. I got so many great questions from the students. And I feel like, yeah, education is so important, and having an individualized approach rather than a one-size-fits-all approach. So that's going to conclude today's video. Thank you very much for watching. As I said at the beginning of the video, I will leave my Facebook details and Instagram details in the description box below. If you could share my post about my missing cat. He has appeared on here, and I know he was a little bit of a hit. So I'm just send positive vibes, and hopefully I'll be back very soon, and I will get back on the channel, of course. Thank you very much for watching. Keep the conversation going down below in the comments. Share this with somebody who you feel might get something from it. Perhaps share it with somebody you know who may be a teacher, or share with somebody who may, understand where I'm coming from or associate with some of the suggestions I've made. So yeah, Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Bye.